Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What's up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, August 31st. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Get everything set up here. First off, thank you to everybody who was in our poker tournament last night. It was extremely enjoyable. Thank you to everybody who entered. It was a really fun 3-week run. Congrats to Joseph Thompson, our winner last night. A heads-up battle with Nicholas Earl that was extremely riveting. It was really fun to watch. And shout out to the Earl brothers. So Nick comes second this week. His brother Tim won last week. Very, very impressive. And also shout out to K Wolf. Kev wins in comes second in week 1 and third in week 3. So Joe T, Nick Earl, and K Wolf will all receive entry into the $250,000 guaranteed monthly showdown at BetOnline. I believe it's at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. $250,000 guarantee. It was great. Joe T also picked up, I think, 448 and also entry into our Cappers contest. Extremely enjoyable. Our guy Rushia, he knocked me out. So Rushia, get in contact with me so we can send to you, or I can send to you $25 for knocking me out as the bounty. And also Joe T, I need to send your information. I forgot to take a picture in my a boozy stupor of the names. I mean, I know your guys' names, but I don't know your names on BetOnline, and I need to send them in. So if you guys could do that, if you could do that, Joe T, that would be great. Great to see all of you guys. A 4-3 day yesterday, plus 0.52 units. You know, it's been a tough season. And I was in bad shape, right? Orioles -1, Phillies -1. I was in bad shape. But the Cincinnati, San Francisco, first 5 under 4, full game under 8 was very, very easy casher. The Nationals first 5 plus a half was a loser. The Tampa Bay Miami under 7.5. Shout out to Noli Knows, was a very easy casher. And then we got the winning day thanks to the Rockies for 3 plus a half, which cashed in the bottom of the third while we were in our poker tournament. There we go. And we have a great show today. 4 MLB games, 4 NCAA football games. Daby Cab's going to join us. We're going to be able to deep dive into all 8 of these games, and I've not moved on them. So I'll be doing it, capping it with you guys and deciding what moves to make, which will be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. I came very close to betting the Braves first 5, but the 15-cent difference, -125 for the Braves first 5, -140 for them full game, just stopped me in my tracks. I was like, you know what? If Bet365 wants me to bet this first 5 so badly, why don't I just at least talk it out first? Talk it out with the squad. Shout out to Truth Teller, Real Deal Prime, Justin McElvey on the Utah Utes team total over 24.5. Says with or without Rising. Well, it's going to be without Rising, unless something crazy happens. We'll talk all about that, but I will copy and paste that. It was very fun capping week 1, and that game is going to be extremely enjoyable. But it's Bryson Barnes. I think not only, they've been planning for Bryson Barnes. I'm pretty sure we can all expect Bryson Barnes. I think. Crazy things have happened with Utah Utes starting quarterbacks over the last year, but I think we can bank on that. There's Fap win in the house. Birdsville race 2. Lip, sip, suck. Thank you, Fap Fap. Thank you, Fap Fap. Thank you, Fap Fap. Brandon the Great, Crystal, Craig, thanking Justin McElvey for the Bryce Harper homer. Man, I thought that was going to at least get us the push on the Phillies, but nay, Bob did it. Bob to the nay to the Bob. But I love seeing that, Crystal, shouting out our friend Justin McElvey. NJ Stryker in the house. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today is the Friars. The Friars -1 at +1. And Pedro Avila. I guess we expect Sean Manaea. We'll talk all of that out here. I hope it's Sean Manaea. That's my plan. That's how I capped it. Great to see all you guys. Sammy Comer in the house. Jeffrey Moore. Reclaim James. Reclaim James. A young, drunken Jose Bouquet will be coming to your bar tonight. He will be at your bar tonight. Hard to miss the mustache and the donkey fingers. But warning to all, young Jose Bouquet will be coming to your bar in Knoxville, Tennessee this very evening. There's Jesse Gomez, Viper, and B. Billy Friedrich. I was up late last night, kind of buzzing off of the fun we had on poker. And I was like, you know what? I would like to see what the hell happened here on Tuesday. I remember I saw Pete's tweet in front of the ocean. I was like, what the hell happened on that show? And this was the first line that I read. The first line I read, Billy Friedrich wrote, I finished yesterday 345 in the black. Now I can get that surgery I've been needing. And that made me laugh, Billy. That was the very first comment on the page. And it made me laugh, Billy. Shout out to you, my man. Shout out to you. All right. Dan Kelly says, somebody look up the against the spread results for Monday Night Football home dogs, please. From our friend Dan Kelly. As Troy Torrance is building his database in NFL, Troy Torrance is my co-host for our brand new NFL football show, Bankroll Blitz. And it's like, it doesn't come up because I'm covering it. Interesting. Okay, I'm learning. Oh, here we go. There we go. Bankroll Blitz. We talked about your database last night. Not only did we talk about it, Dan, but we even played your database video just to inspire our friend and colleague Troy Torrance. This is what we dropped just to inspire him. Did inspire him. It did inspire our guy, Troy Torrance. Man, our first show Tuesday, our first football game 7 days away in the NFL, just 7 days away. North Ender 3-0 in college football to start off the year. There's Jay Smooth in the house. Morgan Spooner says, can't believe I catch the White Sox first 5 after 4 first. Nice job, Morgan. Nice job. There's Mikey M in the house. Love our guy, Mikey M. And we have exciting news here about Mike M. Now, we have some extremely exciting news for Mike M that we are holding off before we let you know. But we still have exciting news. That first Thursday night football game of the year, and every Thursday night all season long, the live stream will be hosted by none other than our guy, Mikey M. Artwork and thumbnails to be coming, but Thursday night football, every Thursday night all year long, hosted by Mikey M. Very, very, very exciting. I can promise you on American Thanksgiving, I will be on screen for all 12 hours or 10 or 11 hours of that football stream with you, Mike. So you have me there, and you can take the Thanksgiving off if you'd like. But every Thursday, going to be right there. Raymond Reichart says, like that first 5 under. Morgan Spooner on the first 5 under 4.5 Yankees money line in MLB today. Still going through football. We're going to deep dive into those football games. We got Daby Cab ready to open up his account here on the show. Also, I didn't tweet anything out, but Dave Rogers really, shout out to Dave Rogers. He really helped me have faith in my Notre Dame action. And he got me to cut the Bobcats as the public dog. These things, I think we need to cap CFL, preseason NFL, and week 0 and week 1 in college football to succeed in the NFL. Because we're not going to want public road dogs in the NFL. So why would we bet them just because we love the Rourkes? Can't believe Nate was cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, Raymond Reichart, Wine Time Sports in the house. Joaquim Hill says we all on the Yankees money line. Let's copy and paste that. That is our only afternoon action that will help get us through the day. You know my affinity for young Clark Schmidt. There's our guy Rocco Rogers. Another night of cashing. Mookie over 1.5, and the boys -1.5. Freddie hits for us too. Love it. Rocco Markel ready to get to work. Let's get this. Sorry, I'm way behind. Damn, I'm way behind. So let me see if I can roll through here. Troy Torrance, 5 straight winning days for Troy Torrance. There's Brian Watson ready to go. And there it is. Dan asks, Dan receives. Monday Night Football home dogs from 1990 to 2022. Copy and paste all this information. What a group we have, though. Dan asks, and he receives. There's Junkie Nuts ready to get to work. BJ Jose Bouquet is alive. Look at that. He is alive. He was hilarious on our poker stream last night. Johnny Gunn says last day of work before moving to Texas next week. I have been pitching to my partner to move to Texas. It's not been going well, but every day I tell her that we should move to Texas. I want to move to Texas. Slatsy says, found an amazing future in football. Jose Bouquet to throw a football over 25 yards at Palooza 3. Grab it fast. Oh, yeah. I love it, Slatsy. I love it. All right. Great to see all you guys. Ken Mizrahi. There's my guy, Nate Dog, 420. And North Ender. Let's copy and paste North Ender's college football action here. Copy and paste it. And there's BJ's best bet. Braves money line -145. And the Utes down to 3 with Barnes at quarterback. I like that. I'm very interested in Utah. Joey Harb says Myrtle Beach here, safe after the storm went through. Got lucky. It went mostly inland. That is great news. There's Colorado Bull in the house. Great to see you, Colorado Bull. We have missed you. Philly Eagle Flyer live scratching. Just Darren. And Wine Time. Utah -200 and Minnesota -300 parlay. Got a +105. Also took the under 44. I can't wait to talk college football. I'm very, very excited. We had a very good year last year in college football, and it was a very interesting year, and it worked. And what I did, and it's easier to cap everything in week 0 and week 1, but I kind of left a lot of Saturday action go, focused on all midweek action, capped it so hard, and then didn't stress out about having to beat up that Saturday card. And we made a lot of money off of it. Akbar Saloev in the house. Christopher Commentini says no rising. There is Big Show Picks. About to record MMA locker room talk for the weekend. I love it. Lucas Ryan on the Utah team. Total over. Joey Marinaccio on UConn. I'm very interested in UConn as well. Let's copy and paste that from the Dapper Capper. Wine Time says Utah will not lose this game even without Cam Rising. This altitude is no joke. Graham Mertz couldn't move the ball at Wisconsin, and he won't move it in Utah. I like it. I like it. F. Donahue says good cash on your Rockies. And Darius won his first time MLB start. It worked perfect for us, didn't it? It was absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. I loved it. All right. Ronnie Imbergia says liking those Cornhuskers tonight. We will discuss that. And Sammy Comer says, what are the plans for NFL live streams this year? Oh, I'll tell you. Thursday nights hosted by Mike M. Sunday nights and Monday nights, I will be the host of our NFL live stream. Sunday night, Monday night, and then we have the Tuesday. So I'm adding 5 shows. I'm adding we'll go through it from the Sunday, Monday are the live streams. I have the Tuesday Bankroll Blitz. I have the Thursday's Cappers contest show, and then Sunday NFL Pub Hub, which means I hope Peter Loshak is not watching. I hope this isn't how he finds out, but which means I will no longer be on Tuesdays with Peter Loshak. No more Loshak in the bag until after football. It'll be the Peter Loshak show on Tuesdays. And I hope you're not hearing this news for the first time right now, Peter. But I will call you. I will tell you in the smoothest, most relaxing voice possible that you're going to be just fine without me. And you don't need me. And you're going to crush it. Brooklyn Funk Project in the house. Wine Time says Kyle Whittingham's best coach in the Pac-12. Maybe in the top 3 in college football. This is a big revenge game for him. Great to see all of you guys. Rem Most, I apologize I apologize for not putting the timestamps up yesterday after I said I would, man. Life got in the way. And I apologize. I apologize very, very much. Nordy, our winner. I dropped it off the top of the show. Jay Thompson. And not only that, but it cost our friend Troy Torrance $50. Had a little wager, a little side action. There's Truth Teller ready to go. Great to see all of you guys. Daby Cab says the unmuted mic is on Thursday too. Yes, but the game should be... I guess it won't be over by then. Yeah, we didn't fully think that through. But we love the unmuted mic. And I wish I had a picture of the guest of unmuted mic. Now, I have been sent some personal images just for my own study, just for my own thorough breakdowns. But I wish we had a picture here of a very attractive guest on unmuted mic this evening. Newkirker says that t-shirt is money. Yes, I'm rocking the Peter Loshak shirt as he hears that I will not be working with him anymore on Tuesdays. Tori Coker, there's Lily Gunn. It is great to see you. Oh, man, I miss you, Lily. Half of the Vegas Gun team. Lily in the house. Thank you for joining us, Lily. Whenever Lily comes, we have a winning day. Lily blesses our action, is what she does. Lily Gunn in the house. Hoops 590 back in action. We've missed you. DC Capper, Sharon Pulliam, Sky Dragon says Tuesday, big NHL day, which you should do. I'm going to bet NHL every Tuesday. I guess I could just come in for the NHL. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that. All right. Great to see all you guys. Arnillo in the house says Mertz is an interception machine. DC Capper coming off another winning day. Darren Turner on the UConn under. It's great to see all you guys. Tone Miggins, levels play today is the Dodgers money line. Lance Lynn, the Bulldog against Strider. Let me get that here. I can't wait to talk about that game. Pop that in here. All right. Kelly McInnes in the house. Great to see all you guys. Daby Cab says, if you move to Texas, I will sell my house and move to San Antonio without thinking twice. I love that. I've been pitching it hard. But this, and Dan Kelly going to put 2 units on the Jets plus 3. Copy and paste all of this. Kong's Clips bet Travis Kelce to record the most. Sorry, let's move this all here. Must peruse it after I peruse more images of the guest on unmuted mic tonight. Let's get all this here. And Kong's Clips. Travis Kelce, most receiving touchdowns. God, when's he gonna slow down, Travis Kelce? That's the question. All right, let's get to work. It is great to see all of you guys. Spreadsheet play of the day in college football is the Huskers. Let's get all of this here. All of this here. And BJ's best bet is Utah minus 3. That costs minus 160 to get them. Jay's final take in the house. What up, Jay? And Kelly McInnes with his college football action. All right. Let's get all this. So we are talking 4 games in college football, by the way. 4 games so you guys can prepare yourself as we go. We're going to start with MLB, but we have Kent State, UCF. We have NC State, UConn, Florida, Utah, and the Huskers and the Gophers But let's get to work in MLB first and foremost. Thank you guys all so much. Oh, Chad Lehman, let's get his action in. Yes, with the weather, the thunderstorm expected right around kickoff. God, it's so much fun just sitting there figuring out the weather half an hour, 45 minutes before the game and wondering if this total has dropped too much. All right, let's go. Billy Friedrich, WTA action. AOD in the house. Mally Mal. Let's bring on our guest for today's show, replacing old Donkey Fingers Bouquet, who was in fine form last night. Got knocked out right at the bubble. He was the bubble boy. It was hilarious. He was very funny throughout. He had a lot of bravado, a lot of confidence. Hopefully, Reclaim James will see a more calmed down version tonight in his bar in Knoxville, Tennessee. But in the meantime, from Dallas, Texas, please welcome star of our hit show, The Unmuted Mic, Dabra Kadabra.
Jimmy, what up? Chat, what's going on, guys? Man, college football, it's here, finally. I live and breathe this shit, Jimmy. Everything I cap, everything I bet, it's all cool. College football, it's a different animal, man. I can't fucking wait.
It's very exciting, and I love these games. These are really 4 really fun games. I love the changes and what's happened at Kent State and Minnesota. I can't wait to break it all down. I can't wait to talk about the bounce house off the top. But we have 4 games here in MLB, and it's been a tough season. I'm putting my record out on Twitter. I press tweet or whatever, and then I have to walk away. I walk away. I don't want to see. I won't look at any replies or anything. I know the negativity is going to pour in. But we came off a 4-3 day yesterday. And actually, the negativity hasn't been so bad. Unlike other cappers who are losing in MLB, I still put my record out. And the other cappers who are losing don't do that. And I know you are not losing, which makes it easier for you to put your record out.
I'm losing on this show. My record is not good.
Yeah, but overall, you are what your overall numbers tell you. Mm-hmm. And I see cappers on Twitter putting out these minus 220 spots that lose, and then they take all this negativity, but they don't put out their record. They don't put out their record. They just take all the negativity and they're like, yeah, it's a tough season and whatever. And I, unfortunately, I put out my record and then I walk away. And this morning, I actually walked outside. I just took a deep breath. I rarely see the outside these days. So I put my record out and I took a deep breath. But we're coming off 4-3. Let's finish August strong. My guy Joaquim Hill tells us that we all on the Yankees money line. Let's get to work. Also, let's see if we got their lineups out as well. Little afternoon action to get us through the day, even though we're all itching to talk college football.
Real quick, Jimmy, I don't mean to put you on the spot here. Know that I'll do it if you can't.
Sure.
Sunday, we do have a massive college football game, and it's the last Sunday college football game. I would love to be live for that.
I think it's a great idea. You mentioned that in the chat yesterday. I believe yesterday. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah.
I think we should fire that up. I think everybody would support that, and I think that it would. I imagine that you'll be doing, if you want, any college football live streams that you want, whether you want to go back to Friday nights or you want to stick with Saturdays after the NCAA Pub Hub. The first NCAA Pub Hub is this Saturday. We're working on the thumbnails and the artwork for all of that, but it's whatever you want, Cabby. We love you hosting these live streams, so it is.
I don't know if you saw last year, but my shirt basically got ripped off last year when we were watching the FSU game live. My unit size is larger. I wouldn't even call it a unit size. I bet $1,000 on these college football games. And I know for some people that's not a lot, but for me, that's a lot of fucking money. And I get very, very into these games. Like I said, I about ripped my shirt off live last year.
It's extremely enjoyable having the kind of action that you can truly care about. It's the reason why we bet. It's one thing to talk it out and have a, score cast it or whatever you want to call it. But it's another thing when you put your money on the line and you get like that, catching the Rockies with the Tovar hit last night in the third inning was like, I mean, that's what it's all about, dude. Like I jumped out of my chair. It gave me the winning day. I was just, it's so enormous. So enormous. So let's get to work. Tone Miggins levels play today is in. He's also got UConn money line. Ooh, wow. That's exciting. Oh, wow. That's a fun bet. That will be extremely enjoyable. Let me just make sure that I have that here. Right. And I've got action on that game from both Dave Rogers and Nick Earl that we will be discussing. Also, Clint started the Die Hard MMA podcast on a thug named Rose at plus 154. Let's copy all, paste all of that. Thank you for sharing that with us.
I appreciate you guys in the chat. I'm seeing some people. Chad said I've made him a lot of mozzarella. Jay Peasy said he's down to jump on Saturdays. Appreciate all you guys. Akbar, everybody out there, man. You guys are the best.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's get to work. All of us, and Ronnie and Bergie also on UConn. I can't wait to talk about that. Robert Franklin got UConn and the points. Let's get all of that copied and pasted. All right, let's get to work. Daby Cab, we have 4 games here. 4 games in the MLB, and we start with the New York Yankees, 65-68, 29-35 on the road. The Detroit Tigers, 59-74, 28-40 at home. We're at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. It is 65 Fahrenheit, 5 miles per hour left to right, very slightly out, 5 miles per hour to 5.4 miles per hour. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Let's see what Ballpark Pal expects here in this one. We have the park factors here at Ballpark Pal popping up right now, and Comerica minus 21% home runs. Wow. And 0% doubles and triples, minus 3% overall. Morgan Spooner says Schmidt and Manning can make this a pitcher's duel through 5. Solo day games keep going under. Sammy Comer on the Tigers' first 5 money line. All right, let's pull up the line history here for this one. We'll start with I have the first 5 up right now. So the first 5 is between plus 100 for the Tigers and minus 106. But let's go to the full game here and go over to Pinnacle and see what their plan is for this market. Pinnacle sitting with the Yankees at minus 112. The Yankees open up at minus 119. They're down to minus 112. The Yankees got up to minus 125 at 9:30 this morning. Since then, 13 cents buyback, which means there has been a 6 or 7 cent move to the Detroit Tigers and Matt Manning. From a total perspective, let's get over there as soon as possible. From a total perspective, we are sitting with an 8 and an 8. Excuse me. We're sitting at an 8. Let's get over, to Pinnacle. Pinnacle has moved it to 7.5. The lone book to move it from 7.5. This opened up at 8.5, and they just moved it 2 minutes ago. They're the first book to move it to 7.5. That is very interesting. Let's take a look at the cash flow, which I have up here. The cash flow for this one, we have 26% of the tickets and 44% of the cash on the Detroit Tigers. Then we have 51% of the tickets and 76% of the cash on the under, and that total moving very, very quickly. Christopher Comentini on the Tigers Mystery Heat says day game in Detroit tends to go over. All right, Clark Schmidt. I think he's better than his numbers indicate, but he's been bad on the road. I mean, you take away that one very, very strong start in Seattle. He's been bad. What else do you say? And now he's 5-3 because the offense is taking care of him, but 5.25 ERA. His opponents hit 281 off of him. They don't barrel up on him. He's only allowed 6 jacks in the 58 and a third, but he's not being very good. Matt Manning, on the other hand, is a good pitcher. He's a pitcher that I believe in, and he's coming off a spectacular start at home over the Astros, where he didn't allow a run over 6 and a third. He only allowed 1 hit and didn't walk a batter. 3.93 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. Now, he doesn't get strikeouts when he needs to, which is a problem, but he gets soft contact. Yankees versus righties since August 1st, 198 with a 640 OPS, and Tigers are hitting righties hard, 252, 746 OPS. The Yankees bullpen, 3.96 ERA since August 1st, much, much better than the Tigers bullpen. Why wouldn't we move on the Tigers here? wasn't necessarily my plan, but now it just may be.
You said the totals moved down to 7.5
at Pinnacle. They're the only book that's moved it there.
Okay.
And that was at 4 minutes ago at 11:30. What is your plan of action?
I mean, that total's getting. If you look at both of these pitchers, man, Smith, I think he's had 23 starts on the season. Let me get this right so I don't say it wrong. It might be 24, 26. He's had 26 starts on the season, but he's only had 4 quality starts. Like you said, he's been getting hit. And then you look at Manning. He's had 13 starts this season. He's only had 3 quality starts out of those 13 starts. And for anybody who doesn't know, a quality start just means you give up 2 or 3 runs through 6 innings of baseball. So these guys together have only done it 7 times all season, and both of them have double digits in the starts. So I'm interested to see why people are running this total down. I mean, I know the Yankees, they suck at the plate, but both of these pitchers, Manning, he's 5-4. Like I said, only 3 quality starts. He's allowed 57 hits in 71 innings, which is actually great. But with the 3.93 ERA, and he doesn't have a very good strikeout rate. So he's a contact pitcher, basically. And, those contact pitchers, sooner or later, a few balls are going to have a few eyes, which is why you're seeing him probably give up 4 or 5 runs most starts. I just think this total is low. I mean, really low. I kind of like the Tigers, too, though. If you want to talk about a side, like I said, Manning doesn't get a lot of swing and misses, but he's facing a Yankees offense. They struggle to string hits together. The Yankees score when they thrive on the long ball. That's what they do. And Manning, he's only let up just 1 home run in his last 3 starts. And Smith's been even worse on the road this season. His ERA is over 5 away from Yankee Stadium. I mean, yeah, I'd like the Tigers as a side, but also if this total keeps dropping, like if I can get a 4 at a decent price in the first 5 with these 2 starters, I have to bet it.
Wow. Yeah, well, you can get a 4. I mean, they're juiced, but you can get a 4 on the first 5.
How juiced, though? It's going to be like 135, 145.
No. It's the highest is minus 125. Let's take a look at these first 5s. Nolan Nose has given us the skull, and the dead under. He gave it to us for the
on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not betting that then.
The market.
There's very few cappers that can move me off a bet, but Noli can move me off an over.
It's funny. The market's all over the place with this 4. You can get it with no vig, or very little vig. You can get it minus 1. Oh, I guess no. I thought it was lower than minus 115, but minus 115 is all over the place for the first 5 over 4. Wow, interesting. I think I could see Manning pitching well here. And the Yankees just aren't hitting righties. I imagine that. Where are they heading to tomorrow? Let me just check this out very quickly. Let's go to. They're not telling me here. I think that he is right. I think this is a low-scoring.
They're going to Houston. Game. That's a good point you just brought up. Yeah, they're playing Houston in Houston tomorrow.
The Yanks?
Mm-hmm.
The Yanks have LeMahieu, Torres, Volpe, Stanton. Oh, there it is. No Judge. Kiner, Falefa, Bowers, Pereira, Cabrera, Higashioka. That is a horrific lineup. My
Steve,
good God.
Someone else's bet shouldn't sway yours. I can tell you this, Steve. I wasn't going to bet it either way, so it doesn't matter.
My good God. That is... I disagree, Steve. I think that you want all the information that you can get. And knowing a colleague that you respect is on another side is a very pertinent information that you can take into your own capping. Wow, these are ugly lineups. These are just horrific lineups. Wow. Okay. No Judge.
Noli did take $4,000 from me, though, Jimmy.
Sorry?
Noli did take $4,000 from me, though.
He did.
If he didn't make me bet that damn plus 200, I would have won that shit.
You made it sound like
He put the pressure on. That's what he did.
He popped through your bedroom window and took it from your family. But no, it was a gambling contest. There's our guy, Lamont Williams, in the house. What up, Lamont? Wow, I didn't realize that I was going to be moving on this, but I'm going to bet this under 8 here now. I'm going to bet the full game under 8. Let me just see what Pinnacle has put it at exactly. Sorry, I thought I had Pinnacle up here. Let me just pull up Pinnacle. I'm going to move on the Tigers' first 5 and the full game under 8. What a sleepy lineup this is here. So let me just check this out quickly. So Pinnacle has moved it to 7.5. The over 7.5 down to -113. Wow. So the under 8 is just -119, but -110 right now. Okay. So let's, and Detroit first 5, then live play the under 9.5 when they score early, says Mikey M. Okay. Mally Mouse says Detroit's weak, no doubt about it. But, if you look at what these two teams have been doing against righties, you have over 100 points of OPS higher the Tigers are with the Yankees, and the Yankees don't have Judge in the lineup. The total did open at 8.5. Yes. The Delaware card from Razor Sharp Picks, he's popped it in our chat. Thank you so much, Razor, for sharing that with us. I'm going to copy and paste that right now. Thank you, my man. All right. Wow. I have action. I got to bet it. And I'll bet it while you are discussing the game 2 spot. But the under 8 and the Tigers first 5. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. That's our lone afternoon game. 7:05 p.m. Eastern, Miami Marlins 66 and 67, 28 and 36 on the road at the Washington Nationals 62 and 72, 29 and 36 at home. Braxton Garrett versus Yohan Adon. Yohan Adon against Braxton Garrett. Let's start with the weather over there in Washington. We have 78 Fahrenheit, 8.2 miles per hour in, stays between 8.2 and 6.1 miles per hour. Minus 10% home runs, plus 7% doubles and triples, and it's even. Plus 0%. Let's get into the line history here. Lamont Williams, max betting the Marlins first 5. Copy and paste that. Max betting our Lamont Williams max bet easy casher yesterday. Miami first 5 money line. All you guys completely nailed the Guardians Twins game. It was very upsetting seeing how easy that under cashed, and even the first 5 under over a Wrigley cash that should have been cash in my pocket, but whatever. It is what it is. Let's go over to the full game total here. Garrett and Adon is sitting at 8.5. This opened up at 9. It lasted at 9 from 3:58 p.m. until 10:12 p.m. when it went to 8.5. Now, since it's been at 8.5, it has still moved 3 cents to the under. So we have a move to the under. And, oh, shoot, the 7.5s are coming. God, I got to bet this. I've got to bet this. Okay. 7.5s are coming. On the money line here, the Nats are sitting at plus 143. They opened up plus 142. So no move on the side, but a move towards the under. Let's take a look here. We have 46% of the tickets and 94% of cash on the under. And it's moved in that direction. And then 67% of tickets, 67% of cash on the Nats. And that's why the market isn't moving towards the Marlins. Equanimus also on the Fish first 5. Braxton Garrett, 7-5, 3.96 ERA, 1.17 whip. Coming off a quality start against these very Nationals. These pitchers, Braxton Garrett and Yohan Adon, just faced each other. On the road, Garrett's been very good all year. In that game, it was a 7-4 loss by the Marlins. It wasn't on Garrett. He pitched well, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 3 Ks, no walks. And the performance was by Adon. He was excellent. 6 innings, no earned runs, 3 Ks, no walks. At home, he's only thrown 10 innings this year, and he's allowed 11 earned runs. The sample size is too small to take too much out of it. Marlins are hitting just 232, 693 OPS versus righties, while the Nats 264, 754 versus lefties, and the bullpen's 4.70, and the Nats Marlins bullpen in August 4.70, and the Nats 4.64. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, Marlins, Nats, and while you do it, I'm going to make these bets.
Yeah, first thing I'm going to say, and I don't know how much I even put it into my cap, but I very rarely talk about outside circumstances. But, Miami is, dealing with traveling after the Hurricane Wednesday. Um, you know, thoughts out to everybody that's caught in that, or anybody stuck in Florida. I actually have noticed a few of our Florida cappers aren't in the chat right now. So make sure and check up on them. I hope everybody's doing well. This is a situation where I think it could cause some distraction, especially for a Marlins team that's already been falling off. It's just more of a distraction. And you touched on it. We saw these two teams, not only these two teams play, but these two starters, this exact matchup. And Adone was outstanding. The 6 scoreless frames. Washington, since the All-Star break, has been strong. 26-17 on the second half of the season. And this is one of those teams that, they know they're not going anywhere. So they're playing because they want to play baseball. They're playing because they got people that are trying to earn their spot. And I talk about this, you see some teams that right around now, they just quit. It's just done for them. This team hasn't quit. They're still playing baseball. They've made good teams struggle against them. And Miami in the second half of the season has gone 28-36. Or not 28-36, excuse me. On the road has been 28-36. And the second half of the season has been just a complete letdown for them. So I kind of give the edge to the Nationals here. I don't know why I wouldn't. We've already seen this play out, and I don't see any reason why I can't play out the same.
Wow. Expecting I don't have another good start. Sorry, very quickly. I haven't moved on yet. Sammy, I don't have the change at Pinnacle. Do I need to refresh? Let me just refresh this. Did this? Yeah, I do not have that changing at Pinnacle. I still have minus 119. Can you verify that? Because I've got it locked up here, the 8.
What was your question?
Oh, just that he was saying that this line's changing at Pinnacle. I don't have it changing at Pinnacle. Oh, he says he sees an under 8 now at Pinnacle. Oh, God, I don't. Okay.
Shout out to Joe in the chat. He said Adone can't repeat that, can he? No, if he was going against a different team, and I know sometimes, we think that throwing against the same team is like a tough thing to do, but the Marlins can't fucking hit. If I was him, that's exactly what I'd want to do. I'd want to pitch against the Marlins again.
Okay, so I have it changing on my site that tracks it, but I don't have it on the actual Pinnacle site. Okay. 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 I'm gonna give it a few more minutes here and see what the hell's going on, because maybe if that went down to 7.5 and it got hammered to the over, then okay. I have not moved on yet. Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. Great to see you, Dutchy. Thank you for being in the tournament here with us last night. It was a lot of fun, man. Okay. And Joey Marinaccio seeing the 8 at minus 110 across the board. I'm waiting to see this change here at. Okay. I'll stop sitting here and humming and hawing, but I'd like to move on this game. I'm on the site and I'm logged in. Okay. Let's move on. So do you want to move on the Nats, or are you staying off just a lean at this point?
It's just a lean.
All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board, and we arrive at Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day. Ron Crawford on the Padres -1 at plus 113. Shout out to our guy, Ron Crawford. Okay, let's talk about it. San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres at Petco Park in San Diego, California. We will start with the weather in this one. In San Diego, 68 Fahrenheit fog. So the marine layer in effect, 7.2 miles per hour out. With the fog, even though it's warmer, that marine layer may put a negative spin on the offense. And it has, actually, no, plus 9% home runs. We don't usually see that at Petco, so it's not too bad. It's warm. Minus 11% doubles and triples, minus 7% runs here. Sean Manaea going up against Pedro Avila. Let me make sure that is confirmed. Gotta figure out what to do with that goddamn game. I was on it, and then that scared me hearing that Pinnacle was moving. We have Avila, but we don't have anyone listed. It's unknown pitcher. So maybe there's an opener before Minaya. We know that has been happening often. Also, the Padres smash lefties. Got to be Minaya. If you use the eye test on Minaya, he's atrocious. 7-3 loss at home versus the Braves in his last appearance. That was on Saturday, August 26th. On the road, he's got a 6.48 ERA. Now, he's only allowed 4 home runs over 41 2/3, but he gets barreled all the time. Then you have...
the Padres want to stroke him too. He was with them last season. They want to get him.
Yeah, and he was bad with them. He's trying to turn the season around, but that last performance was poor. I just, Pedro Avila... Can he be trusted here? He's been good at home. He's only thrown 11 1/3 innings at home. He coming off a bad start at the Brewers. He's only thrown 27 1/3 this year. He's only allowed 1 jack on the season. That did come at home, but just 2 earned runs over 11 1/3. Giants versus righties, 209, 595 OPS. This should be a good spot for Avila. The Giants just don't hit. We cashed the first 5 under in the full game under very easily yesterday, but they struggle with velocity. And I need to go on the Fangraphs and figure out how fast Avila throws. Giants bullpen 4.39 ERA, Padres bullpen 4.66 ERA. Rocco Rogers on Padres first 5. Take it away for us here. Daby Cab, Giants, Padres.
As much as I hate to be leaning where I'm leaning in this game, I'm really looking at maybe going with the first 5 over. When we talk about San Francisco real quick, just, as a team, they endured a really challenging August. They had the Reds, they had the Braves twice, they had the Phillies, they had the Rays, they had the Rangers. That's a fucking gauntlet. I mean, that's who we're playing makes a difference. And a lot of times in baseball, since there's so many games, we get that a little bit muddied. I know they've lost several of those games, but this is a Padres team that, they don't have the same competitive edge from these other teams that I was just talking about, like the Braves, the Rays, fuck the Rangers, but even the Rangers, we're talking about completely different team here in the Padres. The Padres have consistently choked away leads, consistently just given away games. No matter who they're playing against, it's like they just give the game away when it should be an easy win. They should be able to close it out. They can't do it. Giants have not been a great hitting club since the All-Star break, which is another reason why I kind of don't like looking at this over here. But I think, Nutflush hit it on the head. I don't know if you remember last Friday. It's funny because I had the Braves last Friday in the first 5, and Nutflush put a comment in the chat. He said, come Monday, the Giants are going to hit. Well, come Monday, the Giants have been hitting, because I remember the exact comment I made was, well, today's Friday, Nutflush said Monday, so I'm good today. I think they have turned it around since Monday. There's been a couple changes in their lineup. I'm going to take the first 5 over 4.5 here at this game. Minus 120 is a little juiced, but I'm okay with that.
First 5 for Daby. First 5 over 4.5 at minus 120. Let me see if I can I'm so close to pulling the trigger on the under here. Very, very close on that Rangers Yankees, but I'm still humming and hawing, unfortunately. Let's get over to the first 5 total for this one. The 4.5 over at Bet Chris. Wow, this market's all over the place again. Bet Chris hanging up 4.5 at minus 110. That is a pretty good price. I've got Pinnacle up right now. Let's see what Pinnacle is doing with this one. Here, Pinnacle has the first 5 over.
What did I say?
Oh, they have the 5 at plus money. The 4.5 at minus 121. You said minus 120?
No, what did I say? That somebody just said poor word choice, and then somebody else said, what did Daby just say with the laugh my ass off emoji? And then somebody said pause was wild, Daby. What did I say?
Yeah, I don't know. I must have missed that as well. Hemming and hawing. Champing. Is it hemming and hawing? Let's find that out right now. We shouldn't, but hemming and hawing, yeah. Being hesitant, indecisive, avoid committing oneself. You're right. It is hemming and hawing. All right. Hem, an imitative word of a throat clearing. I'm learning something here on this show. Thank you. Okay. Daby's on the first 5 over 4.5 at minus 120. MLB spreadsheet play today, San Diego -1. I feel like the volatility high here. Gambler's first glance is in on the Tigers. I have bet the first 5 minus 105, but I'm just questioning whether or not I move on the under 8. I think I will. But I'm just going to give it a few more seconds of hemming and hawing. Shout out to Razor Sharp Picks. Gambler's first glance is in. It's in. And it is the Tigers. The Tigers. And shout out to our guy, Razor Sharp Picks. Man, he was so much fun at poker last night. He got me laughing so hard right away. All right. Daby has moved and spreadsheet has moved and Razor Sharp Picks has moved. All right, let's move on to 10:10 p.m. Eastern. And the levels play today from Tone Miggins is on the Dodgers money line. Let's break this down. Braves, Dodgers, Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. No, Joe, he's not being confirmed as the starter. We know that he's going to be playing, but not confirmed as the starter. And picks from the Pimp Street Atlanta Braves 1-0 on the collab spot. Is that today, Mike? So look, putting so much energy into the market is not. It confounds me at times, and I could not understand why Strider was minus 125 first 5, but the Braves were minus 140 full game. When you have to think Strider against Lance Lynn, that there's an advantage on the mound with Spencer Strider. I couldn't understand it. I wanted the Braves first 5, but I was like, well, I won't move on it. So I don't move on it, and it's minus 145 now. It's moved 20 cents in not very much time. And best bet from BJ is the Braves money line, and Mikey is saying, yeah, we ran 1-0 yesterday with Minnesota 4.5, and today they're on Atlanta. So Pimp Slap and BJ both on Atlanta going up against Tone Miggins. I'm so angry that has moved to minus 145 that I won't bet it. But I should have probably trusted my instinct. I just couldn't understand for the life of me why it would be so much cheaper to back Strider first 5. When it comes down to these bullpens, I know the Braves bullpen's been elite, but so is the Dodgers in August. And Billy Friedrich adding Strider under 7.5 strikeouts at plus money. Junkie Nut says, unfortunately, Strider gets hit by the Dodgers. Billy Friedrich says this Dodgers train is rolling. Billy Friedrich says Lynn's historical stats versus the Braves are nice. And let me write here the Pimp Slap. Not the Pimp Slap. This is the from Mike M. This is the what is it? What's the corner of Pimp and spreadsheet? The Pimp spreadsheet play over there. Okay, let's do this here. Chavez Ravine. Let's talk about the weather first and foremost in Los Angeles. 72 Fahrenheit, 6.9 miles per hour out. Stays between 6.9 and 5.3 miles per hour. Let's move over to Ballpark Pal. See their expectations of Dodger Stadium. Plus 8% home runs, plus 1% doubles and triples, and it's even 0% on runs. Going to the line history here for this one. The first 5 sitting at 4.5, lightly juiced to the under. Full game, we are sitting here at 8.5. Let's go over to Pinnacle and see what they've done. Pinnacle 8.5 is slightly juiced to the over. This total opened up at 8. It moved to 8.5 at 1 in the morning. So it opened up at midnight. 1 in the morning, it moved to 8.5. Then a minute later, it's back at 8. So it's gone back to 8.5 at 9:43 a.m. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So that's overall a move to the over. And from a money line perspective here over at Penny, we are sitting with the Braves minus 139. It's gone from minus 140 to minus 145 in the last hour at Bet365. It's gone from minus 128 to minus 139 over at Pinnacle. So we have a move to the Braves and a move to the over. Let's take a look at the cash flow then for this one. Cash flow here, we have 67% of the tickets, 69% of the cash on the Braves. And from a total perspective, we have 69% of tickets and 86% of cash on the over. There we go. So we have Strider coming off that spectacular performance at the Giants. When I watched the Giants flail away at Strider, it gave me the confidence to then move on Hunter Green last night. The Giants are having difficulty with velocity, and Strider just dominated them. Now, this isn't the San Francisco Giants. This is the mighty Dodgers. On the road this year, Strider, 75 innings, 9-2, 3.12 ERA, 215 opponents batting average. Lance Lynn's looked good in the Dodgers uniform, coming off 7-4 win at the Red Sox. He allowed 3 earned runs over 6 innings, 4 runs total. Only got 1 strikeout. And the Braves are smashing righties. The Dodgers are smashing righties. The Braves bullpen's elite. The Dodgers bullpen's elite. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, our final MLB game before we get into NCAA football. Braves Dodgers.
It's crazy sometimes, man, how the brain works with this gambling stuff, because most of the time, 90% of the time, I've already made a bet before I give it out on a show, right? And I don't care what anybody else says at that point, because I've made it and I'm not fucking hedging and I'm going with my cap. Like right here, as soon as I saw this and as soon as we started talking about it, I thought of something that I didn't really think of last night when I was capping this game. And I see everybody in the chat's kind of going against what I'm thinking here. So it's kind of keeping me off, but I'm going to go ahead and dive into it, man. I know how good Lance Lynn has been for the Dodgers, right? He's been great. He got hit pretty hard though in his last start. Only gave up 3 earned runs, but 4 total. But he gave up 10 hits against the Red Sox. Dodgers still came away with the victory. And he's been outstanding since he was acquired in that deal from the White Sox. He's got a 2.03 ERA in August. But he's still got the 5.56 ERA on the season, a 1.38 whip, which is a big problem with me. That's too high. Over 150 and 2/3 innings pitched. You know, Lynn gave up 4 runs in 5 1/3 innings against the Braves earlier this season. I know he's got historically good numbers against them. But this is a Braves team that just finds a way to put runs on the boards. I wouldn't bet against the Dodgers. So the reason I didn't originally come up with the bet in this game is I didn't want to go against the Dodgers. And I felt like the under, I don't know what the money is. If you've said it, I want to hear it again. But I felt like the over was going to be getting pounded. So I didn't want anything to do with that.
69% of the tickets, 86% of cash on the over.
Oh, okay. So I guess there is some sharp money on it, right?
Yeah, there's some big bets on it, but it's a tricky thing to quantify, really, because the total, I guess it's the total opened up at 8, and it moved to. There's some books saying it opened up at 7.5, heavily juiced to the over, but it opened up at 8. At 1 a.m., it moved to 8.5, right around time when limits are taken off, and it lasted for 1 minute before it moved down to 8. So what I take from all this, and there's still a move to the over, but I take it as more of the public, like what you said, the public is betting the over. Now there are also bigger bets. It looks like sharp action, but for it to go up to 8.5 and only last there for 1 minute meant it got pounded by cappers that Pinnacle uses to kind of decide what the market should be and if they're in line with where they want to be. And it lasted for a minute before it went down to 8. That makes me a little nervous about it.
So where I was going with all of this, because I still didn't get there, BJ just said in the chat, he said, this is a different animal. He thinks that Lance Lynn gets touched here. Noli said playoff atmosphere, give me the first 5 under. Agree with both of those. I think the Braves team total over 4.5, especially since you can get it at -105 at some places. I think that's a great bet. And I'm probably going to get there with it. I'll decide by the end of the show.
Yeah, a lot of people on either side of this. Reclaim
Exactly.
James
Yeah.
on the Braves. Darren Turner says Braves better than the Dodgers. Troy Torrance says small value on the Braves. Do we fade the Dodgers? Billy Friedrich says when Lynn pitched versus the Braves earlier this season, Atlanta had a bad start and the White Sox still won that game. BJ says I'm going to say over and over again, this is a different animal. Lance will get touched. Let me ask you all a question. When do you see the Dodgers as underdogs at home? Well, I tell you this. I didn't have any bets locked in before we came here, and I've only made the one bet. I've only bet Tigers first 5. You guys, Sammy was right about Pinnacle. It's funny that it changed on the sites that monitor all the books before it actually changed on Pinnacle, which is just crazy. Pinnacle now is juiced to the over 8 in the Yankees-Tigers game. So it went down to 7.5, and it got hammered to the over. So I'm just on Tigers first 5 there. Lamont Williams, max betting Miami first 5 money line. Cab leaning towards the Nats, and they're going to do it again. Dab moved on the first 5 over 4.5 in Giants Padres. And then we have, Tone going up against Pimp Spreadsheet and BJ. This is very, very interesting. Mikey M says in this 14-0 spot for Atlanta, they're averaging 6.57 runs. So he says it's not a bad look. Not a bad look. Chad Lehman, Tigers money line, Braves money line, Nationals first 5 plus a half. And Troy Torrance says database says Braves win, ranging between 62% and 64%. It's too bad that I didn't follow through with the Braves. It's too bad that I didn't follow through with the Braves first 5 minus 125. It just didn't make any sense. And so now I'm not going to take it to minus 145. And we will wait and see if you want to move on that first or Braves team total over.
Yeah, again, and so I'm loving this chat right now. If it seems like I'm dazed, it's because I'm sitting here reading everything they're saying. We got the best chat out there, man. I agree that when we say Braves are a different animal, the Dodgers are that same animal. The Dodgers they're a beast also. But in my head, why I like this team total bet and why I like team total bets in general is because I'm simplifying it. I'm not taking the fucking Dodgers into account. I'm taking Lance Lynn into account versus the Braves lineup. Nothing else. And obviously you might want some runs off the bullpen, but predominantly that's the cap. So I think I'll probably get there, Jimmy. Again, I'll come back to that.
All right. Well, let's move on to college football here. Kelly McInnes took the Dodgers plus 1.5. I pulled out some old boxes. I showed everybody last night, but I remember getting this magazine in April 1990. It's the most excited I've ever been about hockey in my life when Larionov and Krutov came over from Russia. And Larionov was my favorite player. And also a 1986 sticker book when Wall won the Cup.
Did you get it in those years, or they're just from those?
Oh, yeah. This is all the stickers were from 86. Yeah, this magazine. I remember
even alive in 86.
I remember I've never been more excited in my life than when Krutov and Larionov came over. I felt like we could finally turn the table on the dominance of Alberta. The Edmonton and Calgary had just been dominating us for so long. Gagnon hanging out with us on his lunch break. I love that. Let's get into college football, Alfred. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just saying, you're talking about 86. I'm like, Jimmy, damn, I wasn't even alive then.
Oh, man, I was I was 7. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to college football. This is extremely exciting and enjoyable. Wine Time Sports and we've got a lot of action from the Cappers, but Wine Time Sports is all over this card. Oh, Joey Harb is on the Yankees, a team total over 4.5. In that, I missed that. Robert Franklin on UConn with the points. Kelly McInnes on UConn plus 14. Florida, Utah under 44. Nebraska, Minnesota under 43. Yankees minus 1.5. And Nats plus 1.5. BJ's best bet is Utah minus 3. And he's hammering that at minus 160. So let's get to work. And Sean Pulliam did just move on Atlanta just went Atlanta and Dodgers team total over 2.5. What for both teams? Sean, I'm kind of missing that. There's Kenny Ken in the house. Let's get to work. And we have a lot of people's action, so we can go over as we go. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Kent State Golden Flashes at the UCF Knights FBC Mortgage Stadium. The Bounce House in effect. Expecting 45,000 at least there. Sold out. 81 Fahrenheit, and we have a thunder shower. 6 miles per hour is the wind, but we have a thunder shower, which has made some interesting changes to the line here. There is our guy, Nasty Nate. Nate was so much fun in the poker tournament as well. Let's move over to NCAA football, and let's get to work. Here we go. Week 1 of the campaign, and we start with this atrocious Golden Flashes team over to UCF with all of the changes. Both teams are in just a state of transition here, but UCF's first game in the Big 12, and we expect 45,000 in attendance. Let's go to the line history here for this one. There has been a move towards UCF. They opened up minus 33 11 days ago, and they lasted for 4 days at that number. Then they moved to 34, 34 and a half, 35 and a half, and it got to 36 and a half pretty quickly. It got to 36 and a half 8 days ago. It got up to 37 then on Tuesday, and then it dropped back to 36, jumped up to 37 and a half again. We're sitting right now at 36 and a half. So we've had a 3.5 point move towards UCF, which is very understandable with everybody leaving Kent State when Sean Lewis left. So let's take a look at the total here for this one, and it's dropped. We're sitting at 54 and a half. This opened up at 58 and a half. It was at 58 on Sunday. It went down to 57 and a half on Monday. And now we're all the way down to 54 and a half this morning. So we have a huge move to the under and a big move to UCF. Let's pull up the cash here. Oh, we have Taint. Taint is in. Taint play of the day. Atlanta first 5 minus a half and minus 105. Taint is in. That money line was staring at me at minus 125, and I just was so confused here. Taint play of the day. Atlanta first 5 minus 105. Shout out to our guy Matt Randall. Wine Time says that he would only take UCF minus 35 and a half, and Nate Cerna says he is on UCF first half. Let's take a look at what the cash is, and we can imagine that this is all over. Let me just make sure this is all right here. Sorry, I don't have Jose here. Yes, okay. We have, it's not, interestingly enough, 55% of the tickets are on Kent State. 18,368 and 55% of tickets, 56% of the money are on Kent State. That is a surprise to me.
Really?
78% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the under. Well, we know that's the case. This market's been moving very quickly to the under. Michael Johnson says under Kent State won't score. Florida or UCF will not run up the score. See, that's interesting that you feel that way because I think that they want to make a statement in the Big 12, and they're the one, of the 4 teams that have come over, they're the one team that is capable of making a major statement right away. Let's talk about Kent State first. So Sean Lewis left, offensive coordinator for Deion Sanders over at Colorado. Kenny Burns takes over. He was the running backs coach at Minnesota since 2017. The Golden Flashes, when Sean Lewis left, had 25 players enter the transfer portal. 0 players returning on offense, 5 returning on defense. It's a really ugly group here. Michael Alemo takes over at quarterback after transferring from Purdue. He did nothing. 3 years we've seen him do nothing. 18 passes. Now, their running game should be okay if they can get protection from the offensive line. Xavier Williams missed all of last year with an injury. He had a really nice year in 2021. And then I don't know if they have Kai Thomas playing. Kai Thomas transfers from Kansas, but in Minnesota, he played under Kenny Burns. He's not on the depth charts. I thought that he was expected to be a big part. I don't know what's going on. If anybody knows what's going on with Kai Thomas, I have no idea what's going on. Now, the defense is capable of getting better. than they were last year. Last year they were weak. They've picked up 6 starters from the transfer portal. But this is going to be a bad football team, and I don't see how they're going to be able to move the ball through the air. I just don't see it. So let's move on to UCF. First game in the Big 12. Now, John Reese Plumlee struggled at times through the air. He didn't look very good, but he made up for it. Ran for 862 yards and 11 touchdowns. They have RJ Harvey and Johnny Richardson returning. That's going to help them a ton. And Javon Baker, the senior, returns as well. He looked very good last year. UCF's defense was strong against the run, weak against the pass last season. They lose defensive back Devon Brown. He goes over to Miami, but they bring in DeCorian Patterson from Middle Tennessee. And they have a ton of returning players to their front seven. Their front seven all right there. So here we go. Our first game of the year that we are capping together, Daby Cab, Kent State at UCF. Take it away.
Man, I'm going to echo a lot of what you just said, but, Malzahn in his 3rd season here, he's had 3 9-win seasons, or 2 back-to-back 9-win seasons, excuse me. This is a spot where at home, some of the chat is saying, like, why would they run it up here? I think they got to make this statement, man. This is their first game, and I think you said that same thing in the Big 12. They got to make a statement. And we talked about it, that whole flash fast or whatever you want to call Kent State, they're dead. The coach moving to Colorado is all the players went with them. I mean, I think they were, let me see it. I have it written down here. They were the lowest TARP ranking in the country this year. They do have 5 returning starters on defense, but, their defense wasn't anything to, take to the bank. Their defense gave up a lot of big plays last year, just 120th in success rate. I don't know what I expect out of UCF this whole season, because Plumlee was a big question mark for me last year. I look at him kind of like Jose. Dude can barely throw a ball 25 yards. He can move, though. He can run, right? He's got good feet. He's decent in the short passing game, but he does not have a good deep ball whatsoever. I just don't think that's going to affect them here. I think they're going to be able to do whatever they want the entire baseball game, the entire football game. UCF's defense was a little inconsistent last year, but they were good against the run. And I know you were talking about, Kent State might be able to run the ball. The Knights were 25th in the country last year in run defense. So their run defense is fine. And I don't think Kent State's going to be able to throw the ball at all. I think, like, you either lay the massive fucking point spread here or you pass. As far as the total goes, I don't really have a feeling one way or another on that.
Yeah, I guess the more that I sit with it, I think that UCF is just going to smash and grab them. And I think they're going to put on a show. And now you're right. Kent State's going to try to run the ball, and try to keep UCF off the field as much as possible. But it's sort of playing into where you see a strength of UCF. So Londo liking the over. I need to know about this storm.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, is you sit there and wonder. Like I said, though, I want to reiterate, maybe they try and let Plumlee let a few go just because this is a chance where he can do it. But like I said, his long ball is not good. So I don't know how much that'll affect UCF either way. But we do need to know, how serious the storm is, then, that matters.
Yeah, well, we can go over this from AccuWeather and get their hourly. The chance of there's going to be a storm at some point. It looks like the precipitation is always above 50%, but I think that I just wish that Kenny Burns, we know what he wants to do. He just wants to run the ball. I guess I lean more towards backing UCF to smash and grab. I lean more towards that than taking the over, but I get why you kind of like it, Londo.
Do you know what Kent State's win total is on the season, Jimmy?
Yeah, 2.5, isn't it? 2.5 in the max.
2.5.
That's alarmingly low.
Especially for a team in the MAC, man.
Yeah. Huh. Saturated says if college teams don't run up the score, it's because they can't. And no one knows it's raining, but hot and humid. Looking for fatigue. It's good. They have a heat warning all through Orlando right now that ends at 5 p.m. Troy Torrance says laying 35 points. The thing is here, if we are to believe, where the cash flow is, we have a lot of people thinking that this is too many points for a Kent State program that's in complete disarray. And we know that UCF wants to send a message. Like Okay. I like UCF here, obviously, but I wasn't planning on backing them at this number, especially after the 3.5 point move. But if we're to believe that more tickets are coming in backing Kent State than UCF at this point. Troy Torrance says that's a spread range I don't want to go up against the books. They probably have a huge edge in that range. And Mike M saying Kent State team total under has his eye too. Andrew G says Kent State plus 36 sharp.
I'm interested to see once we get some spreadsheets and data on this, and I can't wait to talk football with Troy also. I was just thinking about that. Troy, if you want Sunday, I know my guy Dutch is going to hop on. Hopefully Jimmy can. FSU, LSU. Let's break that game down and have a blast. But I think with college football, and this is my perception, I don't have a spreadsheet on it. When the spreads are larger, I feel like it's usually covered. When we're talking about a ridiculous spread, you look at something like, that's like sitting at a 38, or I know USC didn't cover it last week, but most of the time I feel like most of these teams get there. If we're just talking about overall.
And Noli's saying week one's teams cover these spreads. We've seen coaches come into horrific situations and build. But like Noli's saying, it just doesn't happen in week one. And I mean, if we look at what's a good example of a coach coming in and changing everything, I guess you could use Old Dominion as an example, Ricky Ronnie, and he was there throughout the whole pandemic because they took the year off, but he was in the facility every day figuring out how they were going to get better and better and better. And it took him a little while to turn the corner. Kenny Burns, you know what? I don't think it's too much. I'm starting to think that UCF just force feeds Kent State here and, covers it, a clear cover. I'm going to need a little bit more time. There's Jermel Wright in the house. What up, Jermel? Great to see you, man. Football is back. And in 2022, Troy Torrance says spreads more than 30. They were 99-0 straight up, but against the spread, 57-39.
That's still pretty damn good.
That's really good. Ron Crawford says UCF first half done. See, that's one of the things about this, though. I really think, and the more I talk about it, the more I'm about to back UCF first half of full game. I really think that they need to send a message here to everybody in Big 12 that they're coming after them. They want to win 60-0. I don't think the gas comes off, and I think that the issues with Plumlee throwing the ball, they can work on in the second half. They have stuff to work on. And all right, I hear what BJ's saying that it's too high, but I'm extremely. I think I move on the first half full game. I really do. I think I'm at this point. I think I do. And let me just see, just very quickly, what it would be here if I was to do that right now. And I know it's late to the party, but the public thinks this is too high. 35.5 here at Bet365. Is there movement?
I don't think the public, if the public thinks it's too high, I think one thing they're not really taking into full account is how genuinely gutted this Kent State team is. This is how many starters they have returning on offense. 0, not 1.
Exaggerated. Okay. Now, Ron Crawford says Malzahn does not cover high numbers even at Auburn. But, God, you just think that moving over to the Big 12. Okay, I'm going to need a little bit more time here before I can pull the trigger on this big of a favorite. Troy Torrance looking at UCF first half. A lot of you guys are. I'm going to need a little bit more time. And I also do want to know about the Thunder shower because that will help Kent State. That will help Kent State. We know that Kent State wants to run. And if this can be a tricky game to throw in, that's going to help Kent State. So, because of that, I'm going to wait. I really want to know what this looks like closer to game time. Okay, let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Nasty Nate says, just bet UCF first half full game. Send me $300, Nate, and I'll do that right now. Send me $300 Canadian, too. Send it Canadian. So send me like $245 American, and I will bet it right now, Nate. Right this very second. And I'll send you the tickets, and I'll take a picture of me jerking it as well. All right, let's move on. NC State Wolfpack at UConn Huskies, Pratt and Whitney Stadium, East Hartford, Connecticut, 72 Fahrenheit, sunny, 7 miles per hour. This is another really fun one. Let's start with the line history here on this. We are sitting here with Connecticut down to 14-point dogs. Let's take a look at it here at Pinnacle. UConn opening up at plus. Well, we'll start with NC State opening up at minus 16. They opened up at minus 16 11 days ago. And then, 11 days ago. I'm talking about, Jesus, this is July 20th. Jesus. And then August 15th, it moves to 14, got back up to 14 and a half, hovering around 14 and 14 and a half. Oh, you were saying you just bet it. Oh, Nasty Nate, that's my fault. Dude, sorry.
I would in my head. I didn't want to. I was just like, I don't want him fucking pointing that shit my way, so I'm just gonna let it ride.
Sorry, it's my lack of sleep. This happens after a night of boozing. I'm just sweating out rum. I'm sorry, Nate. I'm sorry, Nate. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It happens too often. I lash out for no reason. I'm sorry, Nate. I love you, buddy. How about this? I will send you a shot of me jerking it. With a belt and a jerk. So a belt like this and jerk. Just to let bygones be bygones, so we can move past this. I apologize, Nate. Okay, we heard from our guy Tom Miggins that he is on UConn money line here. UConn's gone from 16 to 14, and the total. Let's get over to this total here. I'm so sorry. It's my good friend. Why am I lashing out at my good friend? This total, we are now sitting at 46 and a half. 46 and a half. This opened up at 47 and a half. So there's been little movement, but it got all the way down to 44 and a half. It was at 44 and a half at 11 this morning. At 11:38 this morning, a 2-point move to the over from 44 and a half to 46 and a half. Okay. Let's go. Let's break this down. So Brennan Armstrong is now the quarterback here at NC State for Dave Doran's Wolfpack. He was terrible last year. I mean, we're talking god-awful. 54.7% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. It was horrific. Now, old man Robert and I comes over, and he was the offensive coordinator for Brennan Armstrong in 2021 when Armstrong had a really good season. So if you watch Robert and I talk, he's been in the game for a long, long time. He thinks that he can get the best out of Brennan Armstrong. NC State's defense was gashed in the offseason. They're returning just 5 starters on defense, and they lose Drake Thomas and Isaiah Moore, crucial, big-time linebackers. And then you have Jim Morris solidifying the Huskies. And that first season at the helm was a huge, I should have mentioned Jim Moore when we're talking about a coach completely changing everything here. Made their first bowl game since 2015. Everybody buying into his system, everybody coming back. I mean, they're fifth in the country in returning production. And they bring in Joe Fagnano, coming over from FCS Maine. And he's a senior, 6'3", 223-pound senior. And he also still has 2 years of eligibility left. Nick Charlton, who came over last year from FCS Maine, they worked together. He was the offensive coordinator at Maine. So they've already worked together. They have Victor Rosa and Devontae Houston returning, an offensive line returning. You know, why wouldn't we be on UConn here with everybody? 51% of the tickets, 70% of the cash on UConn. You're still getting 2 touchdowns at this point. And from a total perspective, we've seen it bounce back up. And we have 65% of tickets and 95% of cash on the under. And we just saw a 2-point move. Why not UConn plus 14? And why not UConn team total over? This is a NC State defense that's going to take time to get their shit together. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, NC State Wolfpack, UConn Huskies.
You know, I don't know how much you want to take, last year, because we got new faces all around this season. But, one reason I think some people would be looking the other way is just because last season when they met 41-10 at home, an easy win for the Wolfpack. They had almost 500 yards total offense compared to just 160 for the Huskies. But like I said, we got new faces all around. I kind of who did you say that you said the coach thinks he can turn Armstrong into a good quarterback, or you said you have a friend who thinks he can be a
No, the offensive coordinator, Robert and I, old man and I, thinks that he can get Brennan back to what he was in 2021 at Virginia.
He does. If you can get him between the head better, he can throw the ball a long ways for what it's worth. A lot of quarterbacks can do that though that aren't great. But, NC State does have a good defense coming back, and they're returning a large portion of that defense overall. So that's one thing to take into account, too. I'm not betting NC State here. You asked why not. And since I'm not betting this one, I'm excited for the Florida-Utah game. I got to bet there. I just was giving you some reasons why not. You've got good returners. They were top 20 in several categories in the country last year on defense. And there's going to be a lot of familiar faces. UConn returns their best defensive player, though. Also, at their middle linebacker spot. So there is some push both ways. I think UConn will get better this season. I just don't know if this is a good spot for them, but I guess we'll see how it plays out.
I wonder, I just feel like this is a free square for the Huskies at home against the NC State Wolfpack. That's way, way higher expectations. It feels like a spot where, what can really go wrong? The pressure is on the Wolfpack to deliver here. I'm going to do it. This will be okay. So also, I want you guys to know that Dave Rogers and Nick Earl are both on the under in this one. We saw this down to 44.5 2 hours ago, and it's gone up to 46.5 at Pinnacle. It's at 47 at 365. But I'm gonna move this here. Noli's close to pulling the trigger on the under here. That's where Dave was very confident in. That's Daby Cab's co-host in the unmuted mic. So, wow. So, but the bounce back on this total is wild. So at 11 a.m., you could have got the over 44.5 at minus 102. And we're up to 47 at some books. Okay, look, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger here for better or for worse. I'm gonna move on UConn plus 14 and team total over 14.5. Okay. Jose Sierra joining us says, listen, y'all, Friday, 8 a.m. Puerto Rico basketball team plus 9 says it's a gift for the community. Thank you, man. Thank you, Jose. I'm going to copy and paste that. Thank you for thinking of us. Nolino says, I don't care about those moves, but the way you say it, I panic. No, I look, Noli, if you like the under, if you believe in the under, and I watch, cappers like yourself that get more confident when the line moves. Now you're just getting a much, much better number because you waited patiently. DC Capper says UConn has 16 returning starters. North Carolina State wins the game, but does not cover. Take UConn plus 14. Okay, let's roll on. But God, I still don't know what to do exactly with the UCF. Leonard Porsche saying, speaking of gifts, where has TJ been? Our friend TJ has had, I'm not. He's a private guy, and I don't want to get into too much of it because he would want, if someone comes out into the chat and says, what's going on, but there was a death in the family, and he's been leading his family through that, and that's where he is being. So if you do want to reach out and just tell him that we're thinking of him and we love him, I've done that, and it was really received very well. So if you want to reach out to TJ, just tell him that we love him, and we're here with open arms whenever he's ready to return. That would be a really cool thing to do. So if you can do that, that'd be great. And we we love TJ. He's the fucking man. Okay, let's move on. We are 2 college games through, and we've got 2 beauties left. Nasty Nate. Yeah, you can, because they're right here. I keep them close. At all times. I keep them close. They're never far away. The jorts are always close. 8 p.m. Eastern, Florida Gators at number 14 seed Utah Utes. We're in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it's hot. Very hot. 90 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 13 miles per hour. Let's take a look at Reclaim James that says, do I swim in those? You're damn right I do. Why wouldn't I? I'd be crazy not to. Let's go into the line history here for this one. We will start with this total. This total has been hammered to the under with the idea that Cam Rising will not be available. No Anthony Richardson, no Cam Rising. A lot has changed for these 2 clubs. This total opened up at penny at 48, and it's just been a constant move towards the under. We're at the very bottom now. We're at 44. So we've had, now some books supposedly open this up at 51. All I know is 48 is what Pinnacle opened it at. Pair of panties, Mike M? Is that what you see me? When you close your eyes and imagine me, that's what you see me in? Outside doing the yard work in panties? I don't do the fucking yard work. That was a bad example. All right, let's pull up the spread. Panties? Mike M? Really? Fucking panties? Jesus Christ. Okay, let's go into the spread here. Utah is sitting at -4.5. This opened up at 8.5 in July with the expectation that Cam Rising would be back. This just kept moving. Actually, when did it move to? So it'll move to 7. So I guess there was still the idea he'd be back until 2 weeks ago. And now we are sitting at, this got down to 4 at 8:30 this morning and didn't last long there. It's now at 4.5, and it is juiced at 4.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. Cash flow for this one. We have, here we go. On the total, 40% of the tickets and 61% of the cash on the under. On the spread, we have 40% of the tickets on Florida and 57% of the cash. I think that is a difficult stat to look at because clearly the money came in when the line was much, much higher. We've heard from our cappers the stacks play today is the Utes team total over 24.5. We talked just about Anthony Richardson Rising not being here. It was a 29-26 win last year for Florida. That was in Gainesville. Of course, neither will be playing tonight. Richardson, the 4th overall pick by the Colts. Now they're starting quarterback, and Cam Rising tore the ACL during the Rose Bowl in January. He has been unable to participate fully in the team's fall camp. So redshirt junior Bryson Barnes is expected to be at quarterback. We saw him a little bit in relief for Rising last year. And they also have some trouble at receiver. They lost 2 receivers last year, and then Brant Keithy, everybody was hoping that he would return. We only saw him for 4 games last year. I mean, he scored a big touchdown in this game last year, but he's not being cleared to return as far as I know. I don't know if anybody else has. I was trying to get the latest information on Keithy. As far as I know, he's not cleared to return, and he's a tight end that will get drafted.
I don't think he is, Jimmy. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I will say quickly though, they do have some. They have some good added receivers. Simmons from Indiana, Pittman from Florida State, King from Auburn. But anyways, I don't think he is. I just want to let you know.
Oh, that's great. That's very, very helpful. They have 3 returners on the offensive line, but just 7 on offense. But Cabby will go over some of the transfer portal players. They lose Clark Phillips. He was drafted by the Falcons in the 4th round, their star cornerback. But 9 starters are returning on defense. For the Gators, it's the Graham Mertz show, the shit show in Wisconsin. 22-year-old junior. He's come to replace Richardson. 57.3% of his passes he completed last year. 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. This team lost a ton of manpower in the offseason. Just 6 starters are coming back. 3 of their top 4 receivers are gone. They lost a ton of players on the defensive side as well. They're only bringing back 5 starters on the defensive side. Is this, yes, we have Bryson Barnes at quarterback, but why don't we want the Utes at this number? And I'd like to hear your take on this, because the numbers on the cash flow, this line's been out for a month and a half. And when you see 40% of tickets, but 57% of the money, I'm sure the Sharps hammered Florida 8.5, 7.5, knowing long ago that they did not expect Rising in the lineup. So I don't care that the bigger bets are made on Florida, because they weren't. I would guarantee they weren't made at this 4 or 4.5. Wine Time says that the Utes are going to run the shit out of the ball and Barnes will game manage. He says Barnes knows this offense very well. Take it away for us here. And Nolio says Utah coaches make great adjustments at the half. Darren Turner taking Utah. And James S. says, I listen every day. I don't comment too much. You think I can get a birthday pick, Mr. Bags? Absolutely, James S. We will give you our very best. Both Daby Cab and I will give you our very best look. Take it away for us here at Daby Cab, the big one in Salt Lake City, Florida at Utah.
Man, I'm on Utah here. I'm on them first half. I'm probably going to be on them full game. Everything you said, if you look, and I looked at these lines, is the moment that lines come out in college football, I look at them. If you go back all the way to the summer, this line originally came out at 9.5 for Utah. So, and now I'm talking about way back when it first came out. I just think that we're losing too many points on the other side for Rising. I mean, you talk about backup quarterbacks not having a lot of experience. Bryson Barnes has played in the Rose Bowl twice. Like this dude has experience. Maybe he doesn't have a ton of snaps, but the snaps that he did take were important snaps. Another one, and I have a brother-in-law who lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes Utah football. I kind of think of, how we think of Nut Flush for the Giants. My brother-in-law is kind of like that for Utah for me. I reach out, get information from him. So I'm just going to read off what he sent me, because I think everything he sent me was great. Okay, so talking about Utah, he said, I think they'll win. Florida's first road non-conference game since 1991 trip to Syracuse. Bryson Barnes won starting. He won starting in Wazoo last year, and that was on a short week coming off the emotional USC win. He found out he was the starter an hour before that game. So he's got, that's a ton of experience. That's important right there. We're talking about the other side too. Mertz first game at QB. I agree that it's a big unknown, and that's what he said. Last year, Utes were a more physical team on offense in this game, which I saw. It was absolutely true. Utah's defense missed a shitload of tackles last year against Florida. And he said the word out of camp is that Utah has been super physical to not let that shit happen again. I'm on Utah here first half. I'm probably going to get on them. You know what? I'm on them first half full game. I'm both ways here with Utah.
First half full game. Let's lock it in. First half and full game. Will it be the birthday pick for our James S? We'll have to wait till we cap everything to bang that out. But James S, happy birthday, man. And thank you for being a part of this show. All right. DC Capper says 4 months of homework and power rankings. This line has been over adjusted since opening line was put out. Take Utah. Mike M says, I think Utah's a better team and gets it done, but taking out their number one quarterback, number one offensive weapon, and the tight end from last 2 or 3 seasons is a lot to manage. Up 5, I still am interested in the under, but yes, the move at Pinnacle just made me want to just pause. It still has moved 5 cents since I talked about it, and I know that this game is popping off in 26 minutes, but I'm going to go back to the under. I wanted just to give a little bit of time for the markets just to do whatever it is that they're going to do. So I will get back to that. I am on the Tigers' first 5, though. So let's line shop for Daby Cab on Utah first half and full game here. Full game. There are 5s now at Bovada, Will Hill, Sports Interaction. The 5 at Will Hill is now juiced to minus 118. But we can get you a 4.5 at minus 110 still over at my bookie. So we'll give you that. There's a lot of 5s on the board, though. So full game minus 4.5 at minus 110 for Cab. And let's go into the first half.
And while you're finding that, Jimmy, I'll just say, too, I think you might have said it, but Utah's got 9 starters coming back on defense. Just, basically fully loaded on defense. They did lose their cornerback to the NFL, but they got 9 starters coming back on defense. They were 29th in success rate last year. I don't think Florida's going to be able to move the ball. That's really where this comes to.
Yeah, I like it. I like what you're doing here. You can get the -3 at minus 110 for the first half. That's crucial. And yeah, I think that this is just too low of a line. I get what Ron Crawford is saying, though. The SEC dogs are dangerous. We have a Florida team total under 19.5 for Jay's final take. That's a great move there. Huh. And Ronnie and Bergia just got his Blitz THC juice in the mail. Going to be a beautiful day.
I need some of that.
All right, so it's moved to 5 at Bet365, and the first half is still at 3, though. I wonder if, God, I guess you want to have the full game because you want to fade Florida's heavy legs in altitude in the second half. Christopher Clementine says this game going to be close. Florida, and Johnny Gunn's on Florida money line. I like Utah. I like Utah here. I like the price, and I'm going to move on them. I'm just not sure if I want to start with a double up here. That's all. I'm just not sure if I want to start with a double up, but I don't see how you could only take first half, really. I really do. I don't know how that. I think you have to take. If you're going to take first half, then you have to double up. Is what I'm saying. Just because you need to take advantage of Florida playing at altitude.
I think we might see some unexpected shit out of Utah's offense also. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could see him doing some crazy stuff like hopping in a wishbone for a couple of plays. I don't know if anybody keeps up with like some of the other players, but they got a guy, Nate Johnson, on their team. He won the 100-yard dash, like won state in California for it in high school. He can absolutely fly. And I think, with rising out, I think we see some stuff. This is kind of one of the reasons I like early is because I think we see some stuff out of Utah's offense that Florida's not going to expect early on in this game. I think they've game planned for Rising being out, and I think they want this game. I mean, imagine if they won this game last year, how different their season could have been.
Well, I mean, this was Florida's high point in the season.
Yep.
Winning that game 29-26. Okay. I like it. I like it. I think it probably has to be a double up here. I mean, am I going to sit? I got to figure out what to do with UCF, but I don't know if I want to have two bets on all of these games in week one. But okay. D Home saying that Rising not being there is an issue. I watched a couple interviews, and one was saying that they've been preparing all off season for Rising not being here. All off season, Barnes being the guy, Rising's not being fully loaded in practice in the fall camp. So, I mean, obviously, we'd prefer to have Cam Rising. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. So, Brian Watson, 6-point teaser, under 60.5 in UCF, Minnesota -1, Utah +1, Connecticut +20 there. Okay. Raymond Reichart says Utah seems very public. Yeah, I guess you could say that. All the money was on Florida, and the number dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. And now there's a lot of those pros have probably taken both sides of the coin here, looking for a middle. But again, this isn't a public road dog. So it's I hear what you're saying. Okay, let's. Rimmer says, "What was the cash split?" Sure, we'll hit it one more time. So for this one, we have 40% of the tickets on Florida and 57% of the cash, and we'll see how that changes. That's 41,245 tickets in. Okay, let's roll on. The final game here on our show. We head to Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. 77 Fahrenheit, sunny, 14-mile-per-hour winds for the Nebraska Cornhuskers at the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Let's get into the line history here off the hop. I have the first half up, so I'll let you guys know right now that the Gophers opened that first half -3.5. There are 4s on the board, but let's go to full game now. That 3.5 that opened was juiced to Minnesota. Minnesota here. Bet Chris is the first book to move it under 7. First book to do that. All the other books are still hanging 7s. Pinnacle hanging the 7. You could have got a hook. This line's been all over the place. So this opened up July 20th at 7. August 2nd, this moved to 6.5. Then some buyback on Minnesota back to 7, and then it got to 7.5 10 days ago, dropped back to 7, up to 7.5, and is now dropped to 7. And Bet Chris is a sharp book, really sharp book. Bet Chris and Bookmaker are sharp books. They've moved this down to, they're the only book that's moved it to 6.5. Billy Friedrich saying 6.5 at Bookmaker too. Wow. My pleasure, Raymond. Thank you so much for being a member, man. I will always, anytime a member says ask anything, we will stop everything. Thank you for supporting the channel. Okay, let's take a look at the total then for this one. So, from the opener, there's been no movement at Pinnacle. We're talking no movement from the opener in this one. Go over to the totals here. This total is sitting all the way down to 43. Will Hill has moved it to 42.5. This opened up at 47 at some books. Pinnacle opened this up at 46. And there's just been constant movement to the under. The 43 that's at Pinnacle right now, this is the lowest point that it's been. And I just told you that Will Hill moved it to 42.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 58% of the tickets and 71% of the cash. So, we have Nebraska as the very scary public dog. Now, it's not over the 60% threshold. That's what I used last year in college football, and it worked really well for me, but we're right at the precipice there. From a total standpoint, cash-wise, you have 51% of the tickets, 72% of cash on the under. Clearly sharp there. Clearly sharp. Nate Cerna liking Nebraska +7, and Noli Knows has given us the skull and bones for the dead under. Jay's final take got Nebraska a couple days ago at +7.5. And Billy Friedrich saying the 43 at bookmaker is juiced to the under, probably moves to 42.5. And Ron Crawford talking about Matt Rule as the road dog.
He's always been profitable, in this spot as a coach.
And I get it here, but good God, did the Ohio Bobcats sound sexy going up against the Aztecs? And I would have bet it if it wasn't for Dave Rogers saying, really, you're going to start your season off with a public road dog? And I was like, yeah, you're right. And that's why I think we need these, even though we know these lessons, you still need to live them again before the NFL season starts to ensure that you don't make these mistakes come NFL season. Every single person, there's Carlos Garcia in the house, Dodgers money line, Washington Nationals money line. Also, I have a Colorado Bulls parlay as well that I'll drop. But every single person, we've not had one person here say Minnesota. And this is taking me right back to the Ohio game where everybody not one person said San Diego until Dave Rogers said his thoughts here.
I was San Diego in that game. I'm just saying, but
no, it turned out to be a perfect move. Okay, so after Matt Rule's disaster in Carolina, 3 years, he wasn't even 3 years into that $62 million contract, but he gets rewarded. He's going to have his hands full trying to turn around this program. We know what he did at Temple and Baylor. So he brings in Marcus Satterfield from South Carolina to be the offensive coordinator. They have dual threat Georgia Tech transfer Jeff Sims as their starting quarterback. Their passing attack is going to be questionable all season long. We know that Jeff Sims will create a very strong running game. They bring back Anthony Grant and Gabe Evans return. Their offensive line returns. It should be very strong. And Tony White comes over from Syracuse to try to fix a defense that was just atrocious last year. They returned just 6 starters on the defensive side of the ball. All right, Fleck turning over a new page for the Gophers. Gone is Tanner Morgan and Mohamed Ibrahim. Both cut last week. At least Ibrahim got his $100K. He got a $100,000 signing bonus, but they still cut his ass. Tanner Morgan cut as well. So Ibrahim cut by the Lions, Tanner Morgan cut by the Steelers. And in comes Ethan Kaliakmanis taking over the starting quarterback for the Gophers. This guy seems really confident. Like, he's a young guy who seems really confident. He wants to be the man. He did start the last 5 games of the year after Morgan got hurt. Sean Tyler from Western Michigan comes in, running back via the portal. But there are some big losses. We don't even need to talk about Morgan and Ibrahim. They lose John Michael Schmitz. He was drafted by the Giants. He was their star center. He was kept everything together for them as much as it could be. Their defense was very good last season. Jordan Howden drafted in the 4th round by the Saints. A safety, both safeties were drafted, and Terrell Smith drafted by the Bears. And only 3 starters returned to the front 7. Ron Crawford says Jeff Sims way more experienced at quarterback. Here we go. Our final game on today's card, Dabra Cadabra, Cornhuskers, Golden Gophers.
I'm going to do this both ways because I'm just going to look at this through both lenses and see if I want to move on it. So, Sims can move. First off, I saw somebody in the chat saying Sims isn't bad. Raymond, yeah, he can move, man. The kid can move. Now, his passing is we need to see. He's got to show me something a little more than he did last season. But the fact that the Golden Gophers lost their best 2 offensive players, I mean, they also lost a lot across the offensive line. They lost some of their key contributors in the front 7 on defense. I think they're going to have some big replacement issues here in this game. And you look at last year's game, Huskers were a 14-point underdog, and they competed well. The game was 2013. I think they could be even more competitive here. But then if I look at the other side, I talk about the Gophers, they did win 9 games last season. Offensively, they were averaging 28.2 points per game. They didn't really throw the ball much, but, they have one of the best ground games in the country, averaging more than 207 yards per game on the ground. And look, even though they lost their leading rusher, they still have 2 of their top 4 rushers back. And then they got the added transfer from Western Michigan, Sean Tyler. He rushed for over 1,000 yards last season, and Nebraska was one of the worst teams in the country when it came to stopping the run last year. I mean, just absolute gaping fucking holes through their defensive front five. So, I mean, even though they have a lot of their tacklers coming back from this season, it doesn't give me a lot to feel good about with this Cornhuskers defense. And they only won those 4 games last year. They weren't very good offensively. They were ranked in the bottom half passing and running the ball. I think Sims will change that. So I think they'll be more competitively offensively, but I still don't know if Nebraska is going to get there on defense.
I thought that maybe I was going to back the Huskers here. The idea of Rule is a dog and everything, but I can't do it. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new head coach, everything new. And they got the 5 games with Cal McManus last year, and I've not seen one person saying on Minnesota until Wine Time Sports, as I think Minnesota smacks Nebraska. Let's just quickly do a big shout out to our guy Billy Friedrich. What a great friend of the channel, gifting 5 Pub Sports Radio memberships. All went to great friends as well.
Hell
but
yeah.
Thank you so much, truly, Billy. You bring so much to the show, not only with your stats and analysis, but your humor. You're so funny in the chat, and thank you. And then our guy Kenny Ken is now a member as well. So thank you guys here. Thank you. Truly, thank you. Mike M says he's on Minnesota, but the offseason PJ stuff is not sitting well. Wine Time Sports says, I love this Utah-Minnesota moneyline parlay for plus 105. Says, I don't bet parlays much, but this one I really love. I'm just going to watch. I'm just going to watch and learn. I don't, this does not feel like a spot that I cannot sit here and after when Ohio keep going back to that game, but how similar are we? This is so similar. And here we don't have anybody talking about. Now we have Wine Time and Mike M talking about Minnesota, but on this spread, we're sitting here with 42% of the tickets on Minnesota. I'm very interested to see what happens when this line gets to 6.5. But I do not want to. When you can bet public road dogs if you want in NFL and college football if you want, but you have to have an angle where you're like, oh, I think this is going to happen. I think this is going to happen. You got to be so adamant, and it's like the same idea when you go up against a capper that you respect. You have to have the conviction to go up against them, and when you have that conviction, your ROI is going to be positive. I certainly don't have the conviction here, to back Nebraska at this point. And Darren Thompson says they're on the under 42.5 here in the Nebraska game. For sharp plays this football season. Look, I won't. You just think that, if look, I know what Sharp does, but you'd think that you'd be able to, if you're going to pay that much, you'd be able to get at least in on this under at 45 or 46.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, where are you going with this?
Well, they're getting it at the very, very lowest number. It just doesn't. If you are buying picks, don't you want to at least have CLV? I mean, fuck. But whatever. But thank you for sharing. It's very interesting, Darren. I'm very thankful for sharing. If you shared all that stuff, obviously we want more information we can have, the better.
Hey, I want to track your picks that you paid for. Let's see how it goes.
And the spreadsheet play of the day is Nebraska +7. But it's great that Darren's sharing that with us. Yeah. And he said they paid mostly for the knowledge. Look, it helps us to know. We want to know what people are on. We want to be able to discuss it and track it if we want and all that stuff. So, spreadsheet play today is Nebraska +7, and we'll see how that bangs out. Okay, let's review all of the information here and all of our action. First off, the Tigers-Yankees game is 7 minutes away. So let's review that. The only MLB bet I've made is Tigers first 5 when my guy Joaquim saying that they're all his guys are on Yankees money line. Let's go back to what has happened here. Because I was very close to betting it, and then we saw that big move towards the over. That's come back. It's minus 108 to the under. It was minus 102 to the under once it moved to 8. But I'm going to let that be enough just to scare me off here. I do like the under. I like the under, but I am going to just stick with the Tigers' first 5 here. Troy Torrance is looking at Utah -5, but he's on UConn plus 14.5 in the Braves' first 5 in full game. I wish I pulled the trigger on the Braves' first 5 minus 125, but it was just so confusing that I would, and the line had been out for so long that I preferred to talk it out. It is what it is. Okay. Then 7:05 p.m. Eastern, Lamont Williams gave us the max bet on Miami first 5 money line. Daby Cab was leaning towards Washington. Daby Cab's on the first 5 over 4.5 in Giants Padres. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is San Diego -1. Miggins is on the Dodgers money line for his levels play today. He's on UConn money line as well, which is wildly exciting. BJ gave us his best bet. It is Braves money line here, and the pimp spreadsheet combo play that was on the first 5 under 4.5 in the Guardians Twins last night is on the Atlanta Braves here today. Then we head into college football spreadsheet play today. Nebraska +7. Chad Lehman on UCF. Kent under 58. That, of course, that's dropped to 54.5. I wonder if the weather's being, like guys like Joe Yurkovich believe that we just put too much emphasis in the weather, and I wonder if that's one of these situations. Kelly McInnes is on UConn +14. Florida, Utah under 44. Nebraska, Minnesota under 43. Yankees on the run line, and Nats +1.5 run line. Wine Time Sports has 3 plays today. He's on Utah, Minnesota money line parlay. He's on the under 45 in Utah, Minnesota, and he's on UConn +14. And he also sprinkled a little bit on the money line. We had our action from Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast. He's on his road to 100 units this year, and he's very, very close to being up 100 units. I'm going to pop this back into the chat in case anybody missed it. That is our guy, Clint. Robert Franklin on UConn. Joey Harb. The one saving grace at this point with UConn is just that they're home. That's not the public road dog scenario. But it does feel like a lot of us are backing UConn. But I get why we are. Ronnie and Bergie on UConn as well. Matty Ice Taint play today. Atlanta first 5 -0.5. Colorado Bull give us the no bull 3-team parlay. That's UConn, Nebraska under, and Utah under. And his best bet is the Utah under. Says the Utes' defensive size up front should hold up well against the Gators. I've got to decide what to do with this UCF spot. I guess it comes down to Malzahn. I need to go over what he's done in similar situations, because Ron and others saying that this he's not somebody who covers these big spreads. As much as we expect them to want to send a message now that they're in the Big 12, would they do that here? I need to spend a little bit more time on it. Troy Torrance says I'd be on UCF if the weather was an issue. I'm certainly not betting it after the show. I'm going to wait and see. Nuke says, is anybody on NC State -14 other than me? That's not a bad place to be, Nuke. That's not a bad place to be. In fact, if you always faded the times where we were all on the exact same bet, I believe you'd have a positive ROI. Now, the last 8 weeks or so when we're all on the same bet, we've been very successful. But we all know, those of you who've run with me for 6 years, that over the 6 years, it's probably got a negative ROI. So we have Utah first half -3 and full game -4.5 for Daby Cab. I'm going to get involved with the Utes. I think it's too low right now. And then the UConn spot, I'm going to be on the team total over 14.5 and UConn +14. So here we go. Johnny Guns says, I think UCF in the first quarter might be the best bet. They should come out swinging to make their presence known. Johnny Guns, I agree with you completely if there's not a thunderstorm happening right at game time when we know exactly the only hope Kent State has is running the ball and keeping UCF off the field. So Saturated says, I'm telling y'all, Illinois minus 9.5 over at Toledo is good money. We have birthday pick. Now, is there anything that you wanted to add to your action before we get into the birthday pick, Cap?
No.
And Noli No says you're right. Whenever we all agree, he gets off the bet. Okay. Here we go. Rand says that he's not loving the week 1 calendar or of schedule of games. Okay, let's go. Birthday pick for James S. James S. Happy birthday. I hope you have a great day today and a night tonight. And thank you for hanging with us. Let's go with we could turn this into a birthday parlay if we want. We could turn this into whatever we want here. King Al, no, I'm not on the under 8 in the Dodger game. The only thing I have, and KBO action for Ron Crawford there as well. The only thing I have in baseball right now is the Tigers' first 5. I'm really angry that I didn't trust that Braves first 5. And I knew every other book was at minus 135, but I was trying to figure out why would Bet 365 be at minus 125, and I couldn't figure that out in time. Okay, birthday pick. How do you want to handle it, Daby Cab? Take it away.
Well, if you just want me to give you, he's got to let us know. If he wants a parlay, we can do that. If he wants just me to tell him what I like, I can tell you. What I like is the Utes, man. I'm on Utah all the way. You can take them first half. You can take them full game. I don't care. I like Utah against Florida. Like I said, that number was 9.5 out there in the summer for a reason. I fully think it's been adjusted for Cam Rising being out. I think this offense will be completely built around Barnes. I think Utah will be fine. I think they move the ball up and down the field without a problem.
Utah on the spread. Troy just locked in Utah minus 4.5, minus 115. And then I like UConn team total. UConn team total over 14.5. I think that's the spot that I would like the best. Now, if you were going to tie something with Utah money line, I don't know if anything really sets up for that. I guess you could you could do an alternate line with UCF. I don't know if I like that.
Right.
I don't know if the straight up parlay would really work. So I like the UConn team total over 14.5 here. The Trap God on the Gophers. So we have some cap backers of Minnesota around. Raymond Reichart says Utah Minnesota money line parlay. Yeah, what was line times again? I know I've said it numerous times. Where is it here? It's Utah Minnesota. That's an interesting look. I am nervous a little bit, with how Minnesota is going to look offensively, but I get it. And BJ Braves Utah money line parlay. Regardless of which spots you choose to back, James S., thank you for sharing a part of your birthday with us, my man. And there you have it. Daby Cab, why don't you tell us a little bit about the big show Unmuted Mike this evening?
Oh, man. If you guys haven't been tuning in, you definitely should tonight. Let me just say that our guests are well endowed. She's very well endowed. Is that a polite way to say it?
That means, doesn't that generally mean that she's got this huge swinging hammer on her?
She's got really big tits.
Okay, let's use that.
Okay, yeah, that's where I was going with those. She's very voluptuous, very attractive lady. And our guests have been just that, very attractive, outside of Jimmy's friend Sonny. But other than that, very attractive women, and it's a lot of fun, man. We ask them questions. We get the chat involved, so you guys can come in there. If there's ever been something you want to ask an OnlyFans model without having to pay for OnlyFans, well, now's your chance to do that shit. So come in tonight on the Unmuted Mic. We'll be live 10 Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 7 p.m. on the West Coast. And obviously, we'll still pay attention to the games that are going on. This is what we do for fucking food. We're not going to ignore. I'm not ignoring Utah. Only for a little bit to talk to our guest tonight.
I love it. I love watching Unmuted Mike. I will be there watching as well. There you have it. Nate Dogg saying, have a blessed day. It's the last guest you had was this is gonna be hard to follow. She's gonna be hard to follow. She was
Lily's my favorite too.
Yeah, she was pretty elite. Pretty elite. Okay, there you have it. That is our show for today. Thank you guys so much, man. Johnny Guns, James S. Teese, Raymond Reichart, Nate Dogg 420, The Nuke Worker, Tori Coker, J Dub, Real Deal Prime, Rance, James S. celebrating his birthday, Ronnie Bergia, Air Dog. Thank you guys. Mike M. Trap God, Wine Time, Billy Friedrich gifting out 5 memberships. That was very, very cool, Billy. Thank you. And those of you who grabbed the memberships, it's great to have you guys rolling with us on board. Nunya, missing that Nunya business play today. Noli Knows, Oz B, Darren Thompson. It was great, man. And that look that Darren Thompson was talking about was the under 42.5 in Nebraska, Minnesota. Under 42.5. Troy Torrance, thank you guys. Rocco Rogers, Bankroll Spence, Christopher Commentini, D. Holmes. We have nothing without you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Kenny Ken, thank you for becoming a member. And it was great. Very, very cool seeing Billy Friedrich give out memberships. And one was taken by Reclaim James, who will be bouncing at a bar in Knoxville, Tennessee tonight. And Jose Bouquet will be strolling up. We saw what he's like after 4 beers. So he was pretty messed up. So may you take good care of young donkey fingers fluid on my tits Bouquet for us, Reclaim James. That is on you. Jarek White, respect. Up 5. Thank you. Rem Most, love you, man. I apologize for not doing the timestamps yesterday. I said I would, and I totally did not do that. And I apologize there for that. Daby Cab, any last words to close out the show? Great job today. Could you please bless our picks, and then I will be ready to put a bow on this one to shut it down. But thank you.
I got you, man. I got you. Tonight, Unmuted Mike. Tune in. If you haven't seen what we do on Mondays, Medicate Monday, go check it out. I'm actually in talks right now with Crypto Cannabis, possibly going to get a sponsor. I know they've already sent some product out, so I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to get my hands on it. But yeah, check out Medicate Mondays. But you guys in the chat, the only reason we do this is because of you guys. So thank you all. You're the fucking best. And let's get some money today. Leche, los motherfucking bookmakers, baby.
Get that fucking cash.